21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
So close your eyes and take yourself back to the fifth grade. Now, for some people, that's not going to be a fantastic moment, but for some people, you might be smiling. But there was a moment of consternation, and it happened to most of us around the fifth grade. And that was when our teacher said, "And now I am going to do a collaborative project, and you're going to work with some of your friends in the class." As the author of Collaboration is the New Competition, I often have people who are not vocalizing to me that they are done with collaboration, but I can tell by the look on their face that they're really not interested in this topic. And that largely has something to do with something in their past where they did a collaboration, but actually it really went wrong. And I would posit that they actually didn't do a collaboration, that someone called the activity collaboration, but it was not that at all. And so in my book, I talk about the framework of what it takes to really be collaborative, what a collaboration needs. And it helps people kind of dismantle that bad memory they have. Like I said, some of it coming from the fifth grade, but unfortunately, it never stopped in the fifth grade. We've been doing that kind of really not collaboration for a lot of years, and most of us are being pulled into those kinds of events, even at our work. In my book, I talk about the framework for collaboration. Collaboration requires three things. Number one, everyone involved has something to lose and something to gain. Number two, everybody involved needs to be willing to show their cards. And number three, everybody needs to have a drive to win. And so if I can take you back to that fifth grade moment once again, why that did not work is because that quote unquote collaboration the teacher created largely was driven by this. Let's put the A student with the C student with the failing student, and let's bring them together so that everybody can win. And that's not collaboration. That winds up in everybody working in proximity, and all of us know that that means the A student is doing all of the work and the other people are coming around for the benefit, but not truly putting in. And so going back to the framework, we can see why that really was not collaboration. Number one, everybody did not have something to win and something to lose. The A student didn't have anything to win. They were going to do this great work on their own. Certainly, the failing student only has something to win. They don't have something to lose. And then secondly, they're not going to show their cards, right? But then the final point really comes home with they don't have a desire to win. Everybody is not playing at that high level where not only do I come at it where I want to win for myself, but I also have the energy, the drive, the will to win for other people. And that is why what people think of as collaboration was actually never collaboration. And so I want to teach people, open up your mind for a minute and walk away from some of those bad experiences that you had and now re-engage and be open again to collaboration as it could be in the world, because I truly believe if you don't, you will get left behind in the future of work. As the CEO of Little Bird Marketing, I launched into the market research world in about 2016. I was asked to speak at a conference, and it was so interesting to me because none of these people were people I would normally be working with on a regular basis. But I do have a degree in cultural anthropology, and so I absolutely understood the social scientists in my audience. But what I found was that there was this entire industry of market research that actually was incredibly bad at marketing themselves. It was like a case of the cobbler's kids that had no shoes. They were very good at telling people that they needed to have market research in order to make better decisions about their marketing, but yet they weren't doing market research on themselves and they didn't have high quality marketing going about who they were as a company. And so I began to speak to that group, and in very, very short order, just a matter of very few years, I became a really sought after speaker in that circuit. And I began to understand how to really talk to people about getting bigger wins, not just going it alone as a small company or even as a large company, but that if people would start working together in a more collaborative way, they could very quickly propel their company further along in their marketing efforts than just going it alone. And I started speaking that language to everybody that it made just total sense to me. But what I got back was a lot of people telling me, Priscilla, I don't know how you do that. And I really thought it was obvious, but it wasn't. And so that's what pushed me to write my book and really put my thoughts and my perspective down in a very practical way and really just, swing wide the doors and let people see what it was that I was doing. It wasn't a mystery, but yet I was doing it in a particular order and with a particular framework in mind so that when I was collaborating with people, I was having tremendous amounts of success. So I wrote the book in order to really provide people with that framework and also the inspiration about how much bigger and how much better it can be for everybody you're working with if you would just collaborate. Many times when we're faced with a challenge, we turn inward. And this is especially true, I find, with the American personality. Hear me out on this. Not that it is a universal truth, but Americans really largely have been taught to go it alone. They're lone rangers, they're cowboys, right? And so sometimes we take that idea and we take it too far. And I call entrepreneurship the stunning discomfort of entrepreneurship. It is very hard. It can be lonely at the top. And I try and remind people that when they tell me that it's lonely at the top, that that's a choice. And it's a choice you don't have to make. You can actually look to your left, you can look to your right. And when faced with a very difficult challenge, you can say, who else is facing this same challenge or an adjacent challenge? And maybe together we could work for a solution that could bring us quicker to a better solution. And so it's about like really kind of shaking off some of that initial approach that we have as entrepreneurs, which is, I'm going to do it again on my own. Like, nobody's going to help me. These little refrains that we tell ourselves. And I kind of joke around about the old Whitesnake song from the 80s, because I'm a child of the 80s, is that here I go again on my own. That's a very, big, entrepreneur anthem. And I think it's worn out. I think we need a new song. And this book should give you some inspiration to how to go about writing that song. I'm a firm believer that behaviors don't change until attitudes change. And so what I offer to you is not a book of 7 simple steps. And while it does have a framework, it is a framework. It's not an exact recipe for what needs to happen next. But as an entrepreneur, you're faced with sometimes simple challenges that just kind of keep coming up and need to be resolved, or very complex ones that are emerging. And what I would say is, instead of looking for those quick fixes, I offer you a mindset change. And that mindset needs to change first before we can change our behaviors. So the first half of my book is about that mindset. What do you need to be thinking? It includes some thoughts of mine on this idea of leaving behind scarcity and moving toward abundance. And that gets to be a very rich part of the context of the book, where we really take collaboration even beyond working with our friends and colleagues, and we start even collaborating with our competitors. So that's the front of the book. And the second half of the book is very practical, because listen, running a company means you have to just be very practical. You just have to get stuff done. And I provide 7 anchors that can really help you understand what is a good way forward when you're faced with a bump in the road. Because listen, once we get going, there are going to be issues that arise. It's not going to work perfectly, even if we chose the right framework. So when those do occur, I give 7 anchors that say, well, try this one out. See if this fits. Does this help you get further? And so it just is really more of a toolkit more than anything. And I'd love for you to take a look at it. It's at PriscillaMcKinney.com. Also, you can buy my book anywhere books are sold, and especially at Amazon.com. It's Collaboration is the New Competition. And I'm currently recording the Audible, so be looking for that besides the Kindle and the paperback version. But I really want to get opportunities to talk to teams and inspire them to change the way they've been looking at the world, and to get into a new way of thinking that is exponentially really providing a success at a level you hadn't thought of before. So I'm looking for opportunities to talk to teams, to speak at conferences, and I would love to see more examples like what I share in the book, of people who really take this to heart and completely change their own company, their future, the future of their employees, but also their amazing stories about how people can even change industries and total communities.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskarik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.